CR 8670, State of Texas versus Zachary Warren. Could I have parties announced for the record, please, for the state? Michelle Hayden for the state. For the defense?
Walter Nash, Lieutenant, Your Honor.
All right, are you Zachary Warren?
I am, Your Honor.
All right, you entered a plea in this case.
That question right there, how would a child know this, is often one of the strongest arguments in cases involving minors. It's not just emotional. It's meant to challenge the defense on a logical level, too.
You think someone else's plea? So you entered the plea on April 19th to the offense of indecency with the child by contact. According to the plea bargaining agreement, punishment to be assessed at a cap of 12 years. The state is opposed to your application. Have both parties had a chance to review the PSI report, state?
We have, Your Honor.
Defense?
We have, Your Honor.
Any objections, state?
No, Your Honor.
Defense?
No.
State, do you have any witnesses?
We have one police witness, Marina State.
All right. All right, you raise your right hand for me, please. You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give with the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right, if you could lower your hand, state your name and spell it for the record, please.
Charissa Borley, Charissa.
Excuse me, no children in the courtroom. Are those your witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
Are you bringing babies to the courtroom? There's something called COVID, and this courthouse journey, no matter how we try to clean it, toddlers and infants most likely should not be brought to the courthouse. All right, state your name, please.
Can she? Okay, spell it again. Charissa, Charissa, Borley, Borlace.
Right, state.
Good morning, Charissa. Good morning. You understand what you're presenting today. Can you tell the court who Allison Borley is to you? She is my sister. And who exactly warned you? He's not Borley Warren. In prior to incident in June 2017 and outcry in January 2018, were Allison and Zachary close? Yes. Can you describe your relationship? They got along great. She loved her uncle so much. And did you trust Zachary? And how did you find out Zachary had molested Allison? She came to me and started talking about it. She started talking about it. It was the first of the year for and she told me what to do. And how was Allison when she told you that? She was scared. She was worried that she would be in trouble. She didn't really understand that she didn't do anything wrong. And how old was she? Whatever happened, she was 4. And how was it for you and your family, your husband, finding out something like this? It was a very scary situation.
That question right there, how would a child know this, is often one of the strongest arguments in cases involving minors. It's not just emotional. It's meant to challenge the defense on a logical level, too.
It's all coming together and push it out. It's sorry when it happened. How affected your family? Definitely made it difficult to think about family gatherings and everything. But how does everyone get together? Um, it's hard. It's hard for her. It feels like she's fully supported in every way by all things because she doesn't, she doesn't understand how to do that. It's so hard to defend. How has it affected her? Very badly. She has gone through therapy sessions. She talks to me, probably brings up coffee and food once a week. some form. How has it affected you and your husband? It's just mostly knowing how to support our daughter and with it being such close family together and with it being his family, we have to figure out how to put it on and is something that continues to affect your family? No. In what way? Mostly without she still doesn't know how to handle everything, especially with all of the resets off of court and everything. She's been having to be ready for it to change many in this case. She's been waiting for some sort of answer. They said she constantly brings up the case and, wondering what's going on or what's going to be. Do you feel safe with the idea of Zachary being around children? Their children? Do you want Zachary held accountable? I'll pass the witness.
No question.
All right, thank you. Coming in. Okay, do you have any other witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
Okay.
Judge, I'd like to call Christine Miller, please.
Would you raise your right hand for me, please? You solemnly swear affirm the testimony you give will be the truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? I do. All right, you can lower your hand if you can speak your name for the record, please.
Christine Miller, CHRISTINE, MILLER.
Okay. So, Ms. Miller, can you tell the judge what kind of work you do?
I'm a licensed professional counselor with the state of Texas in Bernie, Texas.
Okay. And tell the judge what kind of counseling services you ordinarily perform. What's your license?
So I use a couple of techniques for people to help them. Counseling is a way of confiding in someone, and the techniques that I use are cognitive behavioral therapy, which is change your mind, changes your body, and vice versa. I also use something called EMDR, which changes the mental pathways in your brain. And that helps people who have gone through a really hard time in the past or with post-traumatic stress. And that helps them not experience those triggers, post-traumatic stress symptoms. And it's highly effective. It's the number one most researched method in counseling. So I've had a lot of success with that. I have been using it since 2012, where I've been trained.
So, when you talk about just standing this question, so how long have you been licensed as a counselor, you said?
Since 2012, fully licensed without being an intern since 2006.
In that time, have you worked with other people who have come to you for counseling regarding sexual prejudice, family violence,
Family violence, yes, not specifically sexual.
So can you tell the court how you met Zach and then about Zach mentioned services you provided?
He was referred to me by a previous client, and I have seen him 4 times recently, and it is my opinion that he's been honest with me, forthcoming, explained the situation. I was able to use the techniques that I have described to you on at least 2 to 4 occasions. And I
felt his sincerity and honesty with me.
So when you talk about the he provided, does that explore history? Does that talk about things that trigger him? The work you do, we're supposed to work on him being able to be a better person moving forward.
Yeah. So it takes those memories, those childhood memories, and we change the mental result. For example, you change the ending to a story. You might read a story, change the ending. You can do that in your brain. It's fascinating. And they're exploring all kinds of neural pathways in the brain nowadays. And so keeping up with that, it actually changes your behavior. So if you're post-traumatic stress, if you're being triggered and you act out, post-traumatic stress, it feels like the past situation is actually happening now, and it changes that. You start thinking about it less and less and less, and it becomes part of the history. And then already we used it, and the next time he confronted a person, and it was very helpful to him from his past, and he was able to focus not on the past, but on how he's going to behave in the future.
So moving forward, if the judge gives that probation, I guess you continue to work with Zach.
Yes.
And counsel him.
Yes.
And work with these different techniques that you use in order to deal with the issues he does.
Yes. He has asked to be continued, and I would gladly pursue that.
Okay, now, you and I talked about this. You're not licensed to perform any sort of risk assessment.
No.
Just different specified type of license that you ever see, right?
Not that suicidal risk assessment, I can do. And he has not exhibited any of those manifestations. But actual sex problems, I've never. That's a whole thing that I'm not certified to do.
So will the treatment that you're providing him, will that help him, do you think, in all of his life moving forward? And not just the issues of sexual issues and things like that, but life issues moving forward?
Absolutely. It helps us with those triggers. It helps addictions, any sort. It helps behavior issues. It's really amazing technique and treatment. So, but it does require a number of sessions to be able to come, so that if probation is judged, then he would feel like he could be required to attend counseling with those treatments in
But
Just a couple questions. You said that Zach is the only sex offender you've ever worked, right? And you're not certified to treat sex work. And you said you provided behavioral treatment to him only twice. Correct?
well, 2 out of the 4 sessions. Counseling is also in speaking what has happened to you. It has some sort of effect on you, so that will ease pain and you can help.
No other questions.
nothing to
All right, thank you. Defense, call your next witness.
Laura Lee Warren.
Can you raise your right hand for me, please? You solemnly swear affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth to help you God. So you can lower your hand and need to speak up. Just state your name and spell it for the record.
My name is Laura Lee Warren, Laraleeware.
All right, please.
Warren, how are you ready to talk? Can you just and you understand you're here today because we're asking the judge to consider Zach's application for communication.
Yes.
You know what he's charged for. So the end of the plea, imagination is applying for third. One of the issues that is always raised on cases like this is if somebody is granted probation, so there are restrictions on person's contact with children. Now, you and Zach have you have a 10-year-old, right?
Yes.
Does he, are you the primary custodian?
Yes.
And you understand that your duty as a parent is to look out for the best interest of your child, correct?
Correct.
And are you comfortable with asking the judge Zach implanted for Zach in your house with you and your child? And you understand CPS has no comment about whether the child is the mother child or the child system. And how long have you and Zach been together?
About on and off 5 years. Yeah, that's for 5 years.
And have you seen Zach exhibit any sort of behavior, have any concerns about Zach being around your child? And if the judge does grant Zach's application for further, are you willing to participate in the chaperone program?
Yes.
You want to talk about that, the requirement for Zach to be around your child's training? Are you asking the judge to Zach a chance for education?
Yes.
Do you have questions?
Right, Dave?
Just a couple questions. You said you and Zach been together about 5 years?
Yeah.
On and off. So you guys were together when your son was about 5 years old?
Yes.
Do you guys plan to have kids? No other questions.
Nothing for the judge.
All right, thank you for coming. Just finish your next.
Shirley Joe Blair.
Shirley Joe Blair. Can you raise your hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear from the testimony you give with nothing but you so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
How you can lower your head. State your name for the record and please spell it.
Shirley Joe Blair, SHIRLEYJOBLAIR.
Ma'am, how are you related to Zach?
That is my son.
We understand we're here today because Zach applied for the third education correctly. If you know, we've talked about what the allegations are. You were present when you were set for trial and when Zach entered the plea. And you and I talked about this, and you felt more comfortable if you wanted to read a letter that you prepared to the judge. So,
Yeah. Any objections to her reading the letter?
No objection. I mean, she's still subject to cross-examination.
Yes. You may read the letter. How long is the letter?
It's typed, but it's big print, but it's 3 pages.
No problem. I was just wondering.
And Judge, I want to make sure that you got the impact statement that's submitted separately.
Yes, I received it, but I have not reviewed it.
okay. Yes.
Any objections? All right, so you may begin with the letter.
This is a classic courtroom moment. A mother pleading for her son. It's emotional. It's human. But here's the harsh reality. Judges don't sentence based on love or character alone. They sentence based on facts, risk, and accountability.
My name is Shirley Joe Blair. I would first like to take a moment to state that while my experience in criminal law is but a very small fraction of my experience, I'm a career paralegal, have been for 26 years. I'm a senior litigation case manager and a case manager team lead, responsible for 12 case managers, litigation assistants. I say that, Judge, so that you know I'm not sure. As I sit here today, it's still unreal to me that my family has been going through all of these years. The amount of trauma that every member of our family has gone through is more than I can put forward. My children and my family have been in relationships with the rest of us. I, as well as the rest of the family, have had to separate our lives between children and grandchildren. My granddaughter has had to endure things at a young age that no one, let alone a child, should have to go through and understand. My son has endured things that no one should have to endure or be subjected to. There are no winners here today, at least not for my family. It is impossible to sum up all of the things that I feel should be heard here today, so please bear with me as I'm going to try to best highlight the things I feel most important to say. I was blessed with 3 sons, Zachary being my youngest, and I need to tell you a little bit about him, because as he sits here today in front of you, you see only the charges that have been brought against him.
You see someone who has been painted as a monster and a menace to society. On the day of ultimate judgment, he'll stand before God, and God knows all of you. So it's unfair for someone who should be taxed with judging him for such a life-altering sentence should not know a little bit more about him. And that's what I've witnessed, so that you have more than what's in your court papers. Zachary was born premature, but by far, after Zachary came, he was the most outgoing, kind-hearted, considerate child, always has been, always thought of others before himself. All of my boys are all of those things. It's not about them. Zachary has always had such a deep-rooted sense of need to take care of everyone around him, make them laugh, feel welcome, and feel loved. The sheer number of times during Zachary's life someone has told me that I raised a polite, well-mannered, helpful, and considerate child has always given me such a sense of pride. It's also something that's always been getting me through the hard times. See, two of my three sons, Zachary and Trevor, were diagnosed at a young age, first with ADHD and then bipolar disorder. So not every day was a walk in the park. There were depressive and angry days where he felt no one loved him and life was unfair. And there were manic days where he was the happiest person on the planet. At his core, though, Zachary is and always has been a sweet, loving, funny, considerate person. But even his oldest brother called the father of my granddaughter, the absolute joy of my life, who is the focus of these charges, would have to say the truth. Zachary is a product of a broken home. At the age of 5, Zachary's father abandoned us and left me with 3 young boys to figure out how to take care of one. I was the sole provider most of their lives because their father, who was also bipolar, couldn't keep a job most of the time and was in and out of jail. He did show back up in their lives, but their relationships with their father were always strained due to mental illnesses they all fought. We moved there often during the boys' childhoods. While I tried to be the best mother I know how to be, I was young and raising them as a single mother, and I made choices that I did not realize were bad at the time. Choices that made life harder on my children. Choices that led my children to go through things I was unaware of until their adulthood. I knew my children had not had the easiest of childhoods. They sheltered me from many things that I should have protected them from. Here again, we see the kindness and consideration all of my boys possess. On September 26, 2012, God blessed my family with the most beautiful ray of sunshine I've seen. The world changed our lives. If you have children, you know that the love you feel for them the moment they're placed in your arms makes your heart feel so full it could almost burst. If you have grandchildren, you know the moment that grandchild is placed in your arms that you only thought you knew what love was. This is very important to me to say and for you to hear, because the love that I'm explaining to you has only deepened over the last almost 10 years. I lived next door to my oldest son, Fulton, and Shyla, Allison's mother, when Allison was born. I was lucky enough to see her every day, as was Zachary. I spent almost every day with Allison for the first 3 years of her life. She lived with me for almost 2.5 of these 3 years. She is more than my grandchild. She is the daughter I never had. The bond that I have with that child goes beyond my comprehension. I can tell you that I would wage money. There is no greater love on me than the love I have for her. The love that Zachary had for Allison is also very deep. Allison and Zachary bonded from the beginning. Zachary would hold her, feed her, laugh, and play with her. He would rock her to sleep, help teach her to walk and talk. 2 of them were inseparable. In a crowded room, Allison would choose Zachary to hold her over even her parents. When the allegations of these charges occurred, Zachary would have been just about 20 years old, and Allison almost 5. It was almost a year after the allegations of the charges were filed, and Zachary was arrested on charges that could very well be considered one of the most strictly punishable charges in our judiciary. To make matters worse, through no fault of his own or this court's, COVID has further delayed this whole situation, causing it to go on far longer than it had. I'm not sure if anyone can imagine the pain and suffering that he went through during the first year, not knowing what would come of all of it. Then he spent the remainder of these years strapped with an ankle monitor. Anyone facing charges like this is bound to carry a heavy burden. Imagine carrying that burden being someone who suffers from bipolar disorder. The hell of it all has been a lot, all of the time, and almost unbearable at times to watch a child go through. Over the years, as this has gone on, Zachary has worked hard to try to have a normal life. He's a loving husband and stepfather to a child whose father passed away when he was very young. He found peace through prayers and relationships he had formed with members of the church. He has a good job and supports his family. He's shown up during inclement weather in the middle of the night and on the weekends to fix things for his grandparents. He has taken in friends in their time of need to help them get back on their feet. Zachary has worked very hard to have a better life, and Zachary always puts others before himself. I know that plenty of mothers have sat here before you and pled for mercy for their child. I realize that in a sense I'm no different than any other mother who comes up on your docket. What I hope is that a glimpse into Zachary's life like a provider has successfully conveyed that Zachary is not charged before you. He's a young man who has suffered in life, a young man who has worked to better his life, the life of his little family, and a young man who is caring and compassionate, and not just a common criminal you may be accustomed to seeing in your courtroom every day. I hope also that you will see that I am not just another mother. I am the grandmother to the child in question. The grandmother who is very much still a part of this little girl's life and who wants nothing more than to erase the last 5 years from ever having been experienced, for her sake and for that reason. I'm someone who can sit here before you today and tell you that I do not believe that my son is a threat to any child, that an allegation like this will never be made against him again. I'm sitting here today asking you to take into consideration that the man you are judging today should benefit and has already benefited from counseling. Asking you to take into consideration the time, money, loss of friends and family, jobs, and untold sleepless nights in agony that he's gone through over the course of this case. Asking you to ask yourself, tearing him away from the life and family he loves and who loves him is the right course of action. Asking you to believe that Zachary has a support system of not only family members, members of the church who want to help him build a better life and be the best version of himself. I ask for grace, Judge Grace, something we could all use more of.
New questions regarding it.
So I want you to I want you to let you know something about the one in report. I don't see anybody in here as common criminal.
And this is the turning point. The prosecution shifts the focus completely from the defendant to the victim. In sentencing, this matters more than anything, because at the end of the day, the court asks, who suffered and what justice do they deserve?
Everybody who comes before me, see them as individuals. You understand? Right? Thank you for coming in and letting me know about your son. All right, the court will hear argument. First argument, states.
This case is not about Zachary Warren. This case is about Allison Borlas, who was a 4-year-old child at the time, and what Zachary did to her, how he betrayed her, how he violated her, how he destroyed this family because of his actions and no one else. 4-year-old who couldn't even swim. The only reason he was alone with her was because she had a broken floaty. She didn't even properly wipe her own bottom. And as the court is aware, she says Zachary on his genitals and rubbed them against her. How does a 4-year-old even know about something like that? Now, from testimony, Zachary still has alcohol. Zachary still has access to children. That terrifies me. That should terrify the court. Actions are just so heinous. It doesn't matter that it's a one-time thing. It doesn't matter that it's one child. He needs to be held accountable. He's not taking responsibility. Stop saying this didn't happen. That he's being framed. He's not showing remorse. He's not apologizing. Just blaming. Asking you, based on the facts of this case, based on what Alice and her family have been through, he's He's done to this entire family, and you send him to prison for the full 12 years, and you get the cops.
Right, okay.
Judge, support for people get no contest pleas every day. People accept plea bargains every day. Even in situation in the court, remember when you were a defense lawyer, situations where defendants maintain their innocence, but accept the plea bargain knowing the ramifications of a trial, particularly in a case like this, with the range of punishment. Obviously, when we came up for trial, finally, after we made it on the other side of COVID, the state understood the nature of their cases like I did, which is how we arrived at the plea bargain. So, at the time the plea bargain was accepted, Zach and I and his mother and actually the lawyer that she works for was here as well. And they sat down, I talked to them about the plea bargain, and what the options were. And this was the decision that was made. And so I tell people I'm not going to push on this thing to have you lie, to make you say something that's untrue. That still stands by his plea. And once the court honor the plea bargain, I know some courts would probably consider, breaking the deal and telling people to go to trial. Zach stands by his plea, is willing to accept the consequences. What we do ask, I don't think I've heard a more eloquent argument in my time of practice than I heard from Zach's mom. Just as far as I think we do have a tendency to look at the offense, not the person behind it. I began representing Zach before the charges were filed, and Zach is, I guess, we're going on 4 years now, and I understand the court's concern about the nature of the allegations. I would ask the court to consider granting his application for the third. I know it's unusual in these situations, but I do think he has an amazing support system. Minister from here, families here. I find it amazing, as the court's aware from your time as a prosecutor, cases from families apart. And I do find it refreshing that Zach's mom is able to maintain a relationship with both sons as well as her granddaughter in this situation. So I would ask the court to grant his application for the third. If the court does not feel that's appropriate, well, I would ask the court to take into consideration all the factors that, I guess, the 4 years of house arrest, everything else, and I would ask the court to set that the low end of the range.
Right. Well, Mr. Warren, I want to let you know that I listened to the witness from this case and also your witnesses. And I always internalize what I hear, and I always read the PSR report with a fine-tooth comb, and I've read what you, without objection, defense to impact statement. After reviewing everything, the court will find you guilty. The court is going to order Chapter 62 comply. There's to be no contact with the complainant, no contact with minors. There's a $200 fine, time and money to run concurrent, and the court will finish 12 years in the prison. Show you what's entitled trial court certification of its right to appeal. To review that document with your attorney, do you understand it? Specifically the plea bargaining agreement, because I followed the plea bargaining agreement, because you waive your right to appeal, you did not have the court's permission to appeal. Because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. Do you understand? Yes. All right, good luck to you.